Okay, so I'm presenting solver reporting today, and my presentation is somewhat similar to Owen's. My focus is going to be more on generating reports than on the mechanics of how to create them, because we think that solver is what solver has a big advantage of is in terms of self-service reporting, so that if you have people that are consuming reports, that they can go onto the solver website and generate the reports themselves based on parameters that they want to use. Alternatively, it has a great system for distributing reports, so you can actually use the portal to create reports and then push them out to recipients, either by saving them on the website itself, in a report archive, or actually attaching the reports as Excel reports or PDFs attached to emails sent out to the recipients. So again, these are some of the features of Solver. It is cloud-based, so it runs in a browser. So you go into Chrome or Edge or anything, and then you'll launch it from there. So any user that's using it is going to be accessing the software that way. It is a data warehouse, so similar to FYI Soft, it takes your data from your ERP system, and then you transform it to make it consistent in a data warehouse, and then you're reading the data from the data warehouse, which is all stored up in the cloud. It gets refreshed either manually or automatically, periodically during the day or overnight, or however you set it to be refreshed. So again, it's not connected directly to the ERP source the way the first product that we saw was the JET, which was when Owen drilled down on an invoice, he went into BC. He was in the actual, like he'd be in QuickBooks. So the advantage of having it up in the browser is that the users don't need an ERP license. So they don't need a QuickBooks license, or they don't need a BC license, or whatever other ERP you might be using, which can sometimes be much more expensive than just a reporting license. And also gives you more control over what they can and can't see. And like JET, Solver is an add-on to Excel. You'll see that. I won't be able to really demonstrate that today, but you'll see it's just basically another tab in Excel that you can access with its own functions and so on to bring the data in from the warehouse. It also connects to the GL and subsidiary module, so you can pull in some APAR information if you want. I'm going to show you that. Again, consumers can run the reports themselves. And again, the distribution tools are a very nice feature of the system when you want to get reports out to a lot of different people at the same time. There is a budgeting module available like we saw before, so it will pull in all of the budget information into the reports that it generates in Solver. Because it's a web-based application, it's great for budgeting by multiple people. So all the budgeters have to do, the budget managers have to do is go into the website and create their budgets there. It's all in one place. It can be reported on as one, and you don't need to start collecting multiple Excel spreadsheets from a million people to put together a budget. And it does connect with most ERP systems. This is a list. Let's see, blow this up if everybody can see it. QuickBooks Online is on there. I don't see QuickBooks Enterprise, but you can see it connects to a lot of. And there are connectors available. If you don't see an ERP on here that you're familiar with and you don't see it on here, they will build connectors for it. So it's very easy to get the data out of your ERP system and into the Solver data warehouse.
Does that mean it's not compatible with desktop?
Well, I'll double check with them. But what'll happen is that they'll provide a connector that would be compatible to desktop. So like if the accounting system's not listed here, they'll create a connector. So, and like I said, I'll double check about the QuickBooks.
Tom Franks has one. Tom Franks.
Mm-hmm.
So as I said, Solver is a web-based program. I have it launched here. I'm just going to open a new tab so you can see. Just move this out of the way. Can I move this to the bottom, I guess? Move this to the bottom. Actually, I'm going to go here, back to Solver Global, so you can see if I'm going to log in. And this is the home screen for Solver. So what I'm going to do today is I want to show you some of the reports that are available. I'm going to go into what's called the report templates. And we're on a demo website right now, so you can see there are lots and lots of reports that they've pre-built here that are used mostly for demo purposes. But you can also, these are can be used as starting points for reports that you might want to create yourself. So what I've done here for demonstration purposes is these are all the different users groups on the left here that people would be assigned to. So what I've done is, and that would then dictate what reports they have access to. So I'm going to go into the financial reports group. Just close this up so you can see more of what's going on here. And these are the reports that I wanted to run for you today to give you an idea of how it works. So let's start off with a couple of traditional statements. Let's go to the balance sheet first. If I just click on this here, I'm actually going to close this up. So this is our balance sheet. Again, I'm looking at it in the browser. I can get myself more real estate by opening and closing that icon there. I'm just going to go back down and show you that you can, when you run the report, you can choose the entity that you want to run it for. So you can see these are all the entities that are out there. You can choose one or many. You can separate them with the control key. You can choose the period that you want to run it as of. All our demo data in here is 2021-09, so I'm going to be using that date. I'm going to use the value, and then I can run the report.
David, when you chose two entities, it's going to sum those two entities
Yeah,
together?
so sum those together here, yeah. I'm going to show you an expanding spreadsheet in a second. I just wanted to start with the balance sheet for simplicity's sake. And once we generate the report, we can export it out to Excel. I'll show you this in a second. And then I'll show you how, we'll talk about sharing in a few minutes. So if I go back to my list of reports that I wanted to show you, the next one I want to show you is a consolidated P&L. And what it's doing is when I come in, it refreshes to the last time it was run so that I can see what the results were then. And if I want to rerun it again, I can choose my period like we did before. Here I can choose an actual scenario. So it supports multiple budgets, for example. So if you have multiple versions of your current year budget, whether it's the original budget and then revision 1, revision 2, revision 3, you can then pick and choose which budget you'd want to bring in for comparison to the actuals on this report. So we're just going to use the budget. And then here's where I can actually choose the entities, or the organizations, the companies that I want to include in this. So you can see they've built some trees, basically geographical trees. Let me open these up. So here's the Asian region, the Western Hemisphere, and so on. So if I click on the top of this, oops, there we go, and I run this report, the report is designed for the first page to be the summary of all of the entire roll-up, and then for the other tabs there to be the other subsidiary entities that go into the consolidation.
So you can click on the other tabs.
Right. So here are the other. So here's our consolidated tree node. Here's the Asian region, and so on. Corporate Asia, and so on. It has the similar kind of table of contents, really, for the tabs that are in the workbook. Again, these are Excel features. If I click on the two here, I can see all the detail that goes into this. So, for example, we have a salaries and benefits total. And these are all the accounts that have been assigned to the salaries and benefits category. And all of this is completely customizable when you bring in your chart of accounts. You can tell it how you want to roll things up. So if you have accounts with different numbers that go to the same place, you can indicate that in the roll-ups.
Yeah, so
in the data warehouse.
FYI soft, I had Jeff point out the row definition because you're actually defining line by line what you want the name of the line to be and the actual account number. This one works a little bit differently where you have the account number and there's actually a screen you go into where you assign the account number. They use the term roll-up. So like a roll-up could be a row on the report. So like roll-up 1 could be like, okay, full-time salary, like this account is going to full-time salary. And if you have different accounts, in different entities for full-time salary, you can assign those account numbers to full-time salary. Then you can have a second roll-up, which is salary and benefits, so that your roll-up level number one is the actual row, but then roll-up level number two is the next subtotal, like the group that account is in. So it's handling it a little bit differently because you are assigning the accounts. The term they use is roll up. Whereas with the FYI soft, you're literally looking at every row and then assigning the account number to the row.
So what I wanted to show you here, I'm going to choose Run and Report Designer here, which is really where you build the reports, because we're going to be shifting or launching Excel and looking at the report over there.
So you can actually inquire on the report online as well as within Excel.
Within Excel. So I wanted to bring you in again. This is they don't give us access to building reports in this demonstration website, but this is basically what the report looks like. And you can see how it's a pretty simple layout that's pulling in a tremendous amount of data. So for example, we saw how we have like a revenue section. So what's happening here is we're filtering this to say for every account that's assigned to the revenue category, bring that account in here. And then it also tells it, you can tell it to expand on that field, so then you see all the accounts that have been assigned there. So we saw when we ran the report before, if I run the report here, I need to select a parameter. Let me just take this. It's taking a second.
He also has noted here, it says converted to USD. Solver does have like a currency translation capability. So if you had some entities that were like in British pound sterling or euro, and then you wanted to do consolidated reporting in USD, this report writer allows for that as well.
Would you be able to see like how the budget will look like with different assumptions in like real time? So let's say if there's different line items that are derived off revenue. If you enter the revenue, you see different
In a budgeting scenario, yeah, and actually, Owen, we have a client that does exactly that.
Yeah, exactly. So Owen, do you want to address that?
You develop the budget. You develop the formulas for your budget in Excel. So any formula that you can do in Excel, pretty much you can drive your budget off that. So I have a client that asked for a waterfall budget as they just define their margin, as they put in, they want to put in the revenue. That's one number they want to put in the revenue. They have their margins preset. It's based on historical distribution from the prior year. So it was just taking the prior year, allocating it across the months. And then on each individual month, they wanted to be able to define the margin or override the margin. And then that would also drive then most of the G&A type. It would definitely drive all of the COGS, like what percent was the COGS last year. And then it would drive the G&A. Salaries was more, usually for payroll, you have a sub budget for payroll that feeds into the general budget. Because you want to be able to, your payroll, you put in your census, your roster, and at the beginning of the year, you enter in prospective employees. And it's a very good budget development.
that's why I saw the
That's in Solver.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know much about FYI soft budgeting. I imagine it's about the same.
Mm-hmm. But they provide you that like to set up scenarios like that within the software, and then that feeds into the reporting of the budget numbers, within the report writer.
Right. And it's all Excel based, so it's completely customizable.
But would you need to set up multiple reports based on those scenarios, or would you be able to set up one?
whichever you needed, yeah, whatever your needs were.
One report, so
Yeah.
like when David just ran that budget to actual, there's, see at the top there, it says choose scenario. So you can create one report format, but then when you say choose scenario, if
Yeah, let me just
if you just click on that, you can have multiple budget versions. So that if you have, if you're clicking at, like, you know, tracking multiple versions of a budget, you could select which version you want of the budget and then have that feed in it as your budget numbers for the budget versus actual.
And that'll run on the browser, then you export to Excel.
Yeah,
Yes.
or you can run it in Excel, either way.
Yeah.
Either way. So we saw in here, I just wanted to show you, again, let's talk about a little bit about report distribution here. So if I wanted to export this report and share it with people, I can click on this export to Excel. I'm sorry, and if I want to see it in Excel, I can open it here, and now the report will open in Excel. Let's go get this other one open. Let me close this. So if I want to export it to Excel, then again, I'm in the browser. I'm in the browser. I'm still on the Solver website, and now I'm exporting the report out to a hard copy Excel, to a static copy in Excel. So here you can see all the tabs that are here. Has all the same functionality of the that we saw on the website. And then I can email this to. It's a static copy of the report. There's no drill down available, but it is, you know, but it is something that you can share with people if they don't need that drill down capability. So speaking of drill down capability, let's take a look at. Let's go down to. For instance, we're going to go into advertising. I'm going to right click on this. And you have two options in Solver. You can either just bring in your monthly activity without the detail, or you could also, instead of or on top of, bring in your detail, all the detail from your general ledger. So all they have in the demo data is this monthly summaries. So I'm going to be drilling down on the general ledger here. And what it does is it opens up a tab in which I can see the entries that have been made for that account. If I had detail here, I could see all the vendors and all the amounts and so on. So that's the drill down. One other way that you can share reports is if we click on this share button up here, I can actually pick recipients and email it to them. You can see all the recipients that they have in here, and I can just pick and choose, and then it would become an attachment to an email, but again, I can sort of mass produce this. There's also something called Publisher, which allows you to automate that whole process, where you create a print job, if you will, that will automatically distribute the reports that you select to the people that should get them. And the way Solver works is it would limit those people to see only what they can see, only their departments or whatever they had access to, even though they're getting the same report. So you don't need to worry about that in the distribution. One final thing that you can do here to share reports with users that will give them the functionality that you have in Solver for drill down and so forth would be to save to an archive. This is just a warning that I did this once before, and I'm going to overwrite what's already there. So now what it does is it saves the report in what's called the archive. And if I close down here and go back out to the main menu, basically, and go to the report archive, that report is now available here. If I came in as pretending I'm coming in as a different user, I come in here, I can open this report that was shared with me, and I have that same ability to drill down on it, export it out to Excel, and so on. But the only limitation here being I can't rerun it. You can see that there are no dimensions, no selections that I can make, no filters that I can. So I'm stuck with whatever this data is, but I can work with it. Okay. Let's go back to the report templates. So get my filter in here. Okay. The last financial report I want to show you is called the departmental forecast. And what this does, the reason I like to show this is because it's a combination of actual and budget information. So what this is doing is pulling in actual numbers through September, and then using the forecast for the remainder of the year. Again, this forecast can be any one of those budgets that we saw on that list.
And David, with the report parameters, can you just point
Yeah,
out,
let me go back.
like,
So here on this one, thanks, St. Clair. These are the parameters that we can choose when we actually run this report. We can choose the entity. We saw this before, which entity we want to be in. We're going to use the corporate US. Again, this is where the demo data is. The department that we want to run it for, the dates that we run it for, and the budget version. So you can see if I run this, so this was for '09. If I run this, I ran this before, so if I run it for October now, I'm going to be pulling in the actuals for October. And then we just have those 2 months left for. But you can see it dynamically updates based on the parameters that you've chosen. Okay, so the last section I wanted to show you in the reports were the subsidiary reports. So there are two I have in here, one for AP, one for AR. If we look at this, the customer activity report here, this is sales by customer. We have our graphics here. You can see, let me just pull this open. You know, like FYI Soft and like Jet, we have our analytics here. You know, we have an analysis set up here based on the data that's down below. And you can see we're pulling in customer information as well as you know, sales-related detail information. And we can close up this and take a look. And again, this is all, you know, Excel functionality here.
So this is data by customer as opposed to general ledger data.
And then one more report would be the payables reports, this AP analysis. And now here it's, you know, it's similar to that other report that we looked at where it's expanding automatically. It's going to pull in all the data automatically and expand on it without you having to reconfigure the report or, you know, make the report accommodate whatever changes you've made, new customers or whatever. The last thing I want to show you here is what's called ad hoc reporting. This is not exactly the way reports are built, but it gives you a sense of how reports are created in Solver. So this is just really a query tool. Just skip this.
Extra reporting tool that's available within the software.
So here on the left here, we're going to have, these are where our results are going to show up. These are our filters, and these are our fields. I'm going to take some, I want to take information from the detail section here. I'm going to take the account description. I'm going to pull in the currency. I'm going to pull in the monthly amount. Just go down here. And, sorry, and the date. Sorry. We have data only again in September of 2021. I'm going to select that period. And I can refresh this, and I can get data over here. Let me just close these up so you can see the kind of data that's available here. And one of the nice things about here is you can actually summarize, for instance, by just clicking and dragging the column header to the top. And we could add more fields here. We could add, let's say, an entity field.
It's like a data dump.
Exactly.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, and
That you can then filter,
and then,
right?
And then you can filter against it and then do some subtotaling against.
Right. I like this because it's user-friendly. So, you know what I mean? Even a person who doesn't have a lot of understanding could actually create reports here.
Can they export that detail to Excel?
Yes.
Pivot tables on
Yeah,
there?
so you can export to Excel from here as well. So that's a very quick overview of Solver. And again, that's only the reporting aspect of it. It has the budgeting function as well. You know, again, that's one of the things that lends itself for us as, you know, when we're working with clients who want to, we have a client that has a lot of people budgeting, like 30, 40 people budgeting. So that it's a perfect tool for them because they can integrate their budgeting with their reporting very easily. So, and it's in one place. It's all easy, very easy to track, to see who's done what, if they, and so on. So, but as you can see, also it's a great report generator.
Thanks, David.
Welcome.
Does anyone have any questions regarding the Solver report writer? Go ahead.
Yeah, so it seemed very, like you mentioned, or like it's been mentioned several times, like it seems very similar to the FYI software. Like, so I'm trying to figure out, like, how does this get, when you compare it to the FYI software, like, how does this give you probably more an advantage?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that. Like, what David wasn't able to show was how the row formats are set up, and it's kind of two very different methodologies. So sometimes what we'll do with people is like give them a more in-depth demo of actually, like Owen did a demo of building a report in Jet, and we'd give a more in-depth demo of building a report in Solver versus FYI Soft, because like Solver is very linear. It's like every line on the report, and then you tell it what account number it goes to. This works more with like setting up categories for an account, and then it sums them together. So it's hard because he wasn't able to show how to develop a report, but like sometimes people just their mindset and how they develop reports. It's kind of funny. I'm a linear person, like FYI Soft, and Owen's very category and roll-ups and stuff like that. So sometimes when you just show people how a report's built, it kind of people will lean one way or another on what they're comfortable with. There's also that with Solver, it does more in Excel, right?
Right. I think that's the other critical difference is that you're actually building the reports in Excel here, whereas in FYI Soft you're building them in FYI Soft. So, for example, like we saw that we were able to group, and get an expansion of all the salaries, there. That's something that you can't do in FYI Soft natively. You'd have to bring it out to Excel and then and reformat it there. Jet can do that. So that's the kind of thing that where you're building the reports in Excel, you have all those Excel tools and functionality available to you to do that kind of stuff.
What the Solver website's doing is it's holding your reports there so that it's a centralized place. We've had issues with clients, like say with Jet, or there are some other Excel-based development tools where people save their report somewhere, and then other people can't see the report, and people are building the same report 3 times. And with Solver, it's allowing a portal with like the latest version of a singular report. So even though you may bring something down to Excel, you wind up publishing it back to the portal, and then it's a centralized place so that people could all get the same version of the report. But you are developing the report in Excel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and some people like that capability because it adds you can add Excel functionality to your reports.
And I think the software actually, Jet, has like an advantage in this type of format because it is so easy to understand the equal GL function.
Yeah.
Because it's similar to what you've already done in Excel. FYI Soft using a row, and that's what row and column report designer. And if you've never used the row report designer, a row and column report designer can be, a little off-putting at first, but you get used to it very quickly.